I've been having a play around with the new Photos app on the iPad OS developer beta and seeing all the different things that you can do now in Photos. So what I've been able to find out is an Adobe Photoshop task that I used to do with my Year 10 or my Year 11 IT class, I can now do directly in Photos. Some of the new features and some of the new tools within Markup I've become a lot more sophisticated, and we can do these things now quite easily straight in the Photos app. So we're going to have a look at this kind of thing here and how we can make this. And this is a really good task that we used to do in Photoshop, not just to teach students the very basics of some Photoshop tools, but also some elements and principles of design such as color, line, shape, and space. So I'll show you how we can set this up and how we can use the new tools within Markup to create something that we normally would have had to use Photoshop to make. We're going to open up Sketches and quickly set up one of these images, and then we'll come back into Photos and do the task. So within Sketches, I'm going to tap on the cog settings wheel and tap on Import Photo and then find the picture that I want. So I'm going to grab this tulip photo that I took last spring, and I'm going to use my 2 fingers to pinch in and resize the picture and move it across to the left hand side. When I'm happy with where my picture is sitting, I'll tap tick at the bottom to place it. And then I'll go back to my main menu, and that should be now saved to my Photos app. So let's go back to Photos. My picture is now in my Photos and I want to add it to my album. So I'm going to tap and hold on it and then drag it into my album. So here's my picture ready to edit in Markup. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at the old iPad OS and how we can use Markup in this. So if I tap on Edit and I tap on More and I go to Markup, I can tap on plus and I can add in a square, and I'll choose a solid square, and I'll resize the box by dragging out the handlers. Now in the old Markup, when you tap on the color wheel, it only comes with preset colors. So I could go through and pick the colors that I think best represent this flower. However, in the new Markup, I can directly select colors using the new eyedropper tool. Okay, I've jumped back over to the developer beta. Now let's go into Markup on this one. So tap on Edit in the top right hand corner, tap on More and Markup. I'm going to tap on plus, tap on my square, tap on the square and circle and choose the solid one. I'll tap, hold and drag my square out and try and resize it a little bit and try to line it up. Now when I do this task, it might take me a few times to get the size of the boxes right. It's a good idea to not have more than 4 to 5 boxes to highlight the main colors within this image. So this box might be a little bit too high, but we'll duplicate it a few times and see what happens. So I'm going to tap on the box and tap duplicate and move it down. And I think by looking at it already, I can tell that it's the wrong size. So I'm going to delete these, make this a little bit smaller and try again. You might need to try this a few times until you get it exactly right. Sometimes it's a good idea to put one down the bottom, and then you can figure out better how it should be spaced. So once I've got all my boxes set up, I just need to make sure that the space between the boxes and the flower and the spaces between each of the boxes looks about the same. And then I can go through and select out the main colors of the photo and put it into the boxes using the eyedropper tool. It's a good idea when doing a task like this to choose 2 main colors and show a light and a dark of each color. Sometimes you can go a little bit too much and try to put every single color in there that you can see in the photo, and it becomes too much. We just want to show a representation of the main colors within this picture. So I'm going to go pink and green. I'm going to use my Apple Pencil to do this, and when I tap on the rainbow wheel this time, you've got extra options. So not only our rainbow grid, but we've got spectrum colors where you can slide through and make your own color, and RGB sliders and hex colors as well. You can also see at the bottom you've got a plus. So if I tap on spectrum and decide to make my own color, I can tap plus to add that color in. Now I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, which is in the top left hand corner, and at the moment, as it's a developer beta, sometimes it's a little bit hard to select with my finger or Apple Pencil, but let's hope it works well for the demonstration. So the first thing I need to do is tap on the first box I want to color in, go back to the rainbow wheel, tap and hold on that eyedropper tool. Now I've got the eyedropper selected. I'll choose a light pink to start off with. I'm going to tap on the next box and repeat this process. So tap and hold on the eyedropper and choose a darker pink. Then I'll choose green for the next two boxes. So I'll do a light green and a darker green. Tap on the next box, tap and hold on my eyedropper and choose a brighter green. If it hasn't come out exactly right, you can just repeat until you get the right colour. And the last box should be a darker green. Alright, I'm pretty happy with how my colour swatches are looking, and I can either leave it like this and crop the picture so I can just see the colour swatches and the tulip, or I might want to write on it and describe what it is. I'm just going to write a title above it. I'm going to tap on my pen and choose black. And I'm going to change the colour to a pink. Now, the really good feature about the new Markup in Photos is that it takes some of the same things that we can do in Notes over into Photos. So if I draw a line and hold my Apple Pencil and pause at the end, it'll make the shape look perfect. And I'll draw on the arrowhead and do the same thing. So draw, hold and pause with your Apple Pencil until it forms that perfect shape. Now I'm going to tap done and I'm going to tap on crop. And I'll crop out the white space that I don't need. And I'll tap done again to save this picture. And now I've been able to create this picture with colour swatches that I would normally have to use Adobe Photoshop to create, and I've been able to do it right within Photos on the new iPad OS. Alright, I'm going to quickly show you this task in Photoshop and how to put it together. So first of all, I've opened up my pink tulip in Photoshop. And I need to resize my canvas. But I think this picture is a little bit big at the moment because I can notice up here it says at 33% and this picture is quite large. So let's see how big this picture is to start off with. So it's 4000 by 3000 pixels, which is pretty big. So I'm going to take that down to 2000. And then zoom it back in. Now I need some white space around the side and a little bit more white space on the right hand side to put in those boxes. So let's make the canvas size a bit bigger. So I'm going to click on Image, Canvas Size. Now this isn't going to make the flower bigger, it's just going to make the background or the canvas larger. This one says centimeters, you can always convert it to pixels if you need to. Now I need the width to be a lot bigger than the height, so I'm going to change the width to 3000. And I'm going to change the height to 2000. You can always go back and crop and fix this later. I'll reposition the tulip to where I'd like it to be. You can always use your arrow keys as well to move it around. Go down to the colour swatches on the toolbar and I'm going to make one of these white. Click on the fill bucket, then I'll click in the transparent area or the checkerboard to make the background white. Now I need to select the rectangle tool. If I draw a rectangle right now, you can see up here the fill is white and also down here the fill is white. A quick way to do that is to click on the flip arrow and now my box will be blue. Drag out my box size. Shift it around using my arrow keys and then I'll duplicate it and make sure the size of this box is going to fit for the space. So over in my layers, I can just simply right click on here and choose duplicate layer and then move it down. And repeat until I have 4 boxes. Now you can see that 4 boxes is not going to fit in very well, so I'll need to do this again. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with my boxes and all the spaces in between. Now I just have to colour them in. So I'll come over to the right hand side and the different layers. Now rectangle 1 is my top rectangle and I can colour these in 2 ways. I can either double click on the rectangle here to bring up the colour palette. Then I can use the eyedropper and find the colour I want. Another way to do it, which takes a little bit longer, I'll select the next rectangle down. Over on the toolbar, I'll click on the colour swatch. I'll choose the dark pink with the eyedropper and choose OK. Then under my properties menu, I can see that the colour of this box is blue. If I click on here, you'll see recently used colours. The first colour on recently used colours is the one on the colour swatch on the toolbar. So if I click on the first recently used colour, it should fill that rectangle in with the darker pink. Okay, let's make the other rectangles a light green and a dark green like we did in Photos. So I'm going to double click on this one, grab that lighter green and click OK. And then do the last one. Now all I need to do is crop this. So on the toolbar, grab the rectangle marquee tool, select around your image, and a graphic design tip is the bottom space needs to be just a tiny bit larger than the top and the side spaces. It just helps to anchor the picture and where your eye focuses. So once I'm happy with my selection, I'll choose Image, Crop. And then to save this, Command-Shift-S. Rename my file, and I'm going to make it a PNG. And choose where I'd like this to be saved. Okay, so here's a side-by-side comparison of our tulip photo with our colour swatches. On the left-hand side is the one that we made in the Photos app on the iPad, and on the right-hand side is the one that we made on the MacBook in Adobe Photoshop. And you can see that we're getting a similar result now between Photos and Photoshop. And that's really helpful if you don't have time to learn different bits of Photoshop, because now you can create something that looks just as professional and slick looking in Photos on the iPad that you can in Adobe Photoshop.